Hello. We are gathered here today to discuss an essay by Henry David Thoreau about John Brown. It's called A Plea for Captain John Brown. On October 30th, 1859, in Connecticut, Massachusetts, Henry David Thoreau got together and he talked to a bunch of his peeps. He was just like, "What's up?" Basically, Thoreau started off. He said John Brown went around the country during the war of 1812. He delivered meats with his father. And during that time, he went to a lot of different soldiers, their encampments, and he learned a lot about military. And John Brown came to the decision himself that he would never go to war unless it was for a just cause. Okay, so basically, John Brown grew up, he grew up to hate slavery on his own because he wanted to uphold the truth of his true convictions about the Constitution itself. And he did not believe that the Constitution said slavery was good. Freedom and rights for all men, and slavery, slaves are people. This is what John Brown grew to believe. John Brown was the only one being true to his own convictions, more than any other American at the time. For instance, Thomas Jefferson, so dedicated to the right of man and the establishment of democracy, owned over 600 slaves, and he owned those slaves, if you know what I mean. Such was the kind of backwards thinking logic to which Brown was so vehemently opposed. Brown was against the American government because they turned their back to slavery. The Constitution, even with its 3/5 compromise, did not see slaves as people until eventually with the Emancipation Proclamation during the Civil War, after some really big battle thing. Then Thoreau was all like, "The only government that I recognize, and it matters not how few are at the head of it or how small its army, is that power that establishes justice in the land, never that which establishes injustice." Thus, the greatest gift his country could grant to Brown was that of execution, for he was able to ascend and transcend his humanity into the immortality of one who was truly true to his convictions, for that was the truthfulness of his truity. John Brown was the only one who had the courage to face his country herself when she was in the wrong. For in order to die, you must first have lived. And Brown lived, live he did, for he lived truer than any other man, for he lived true to his convictions. Can we cut that part?
Go.
What?
Just go.
I don't know where I am.
Just try to.
Oh, so you did. And now you see, John Brown being committed to his aspect, his belief that slavery was wrong, was more true to that than any other American at the time. Thomas Jefferson, for instance, also thought slavery was wrong. He made it with some slaves, you know. Wait, where am I now? Did we just cut that? This type of twisted backwards logic was what Brown was so vehemently opposed to. This was the kind of backwards thinking logic that Brown was so vehemently opposed. Damn it, I missed the tune. What was the sentence? For in order to die, you must first live!